good morning or good evening, depending on where you are in this beautiful world that God has created. My name is Wayne Johnson with Doc and Queen Ministries. Today's topic will be mundane behavior in the marriage. I will be using Bible verse 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, and it reads as such: In the same way you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should so your prayers will not be hindered. There are actually 5 key words that I want to use this morning out of that First Peter chapter 3 verse 7. The first word is honor. The second one is understand. The third one is equal. The fourth one is treat. And the last one will be hinder. But let us start with honor. I know for myself, being married for over 30 years, some of the mundane things that I had brought to the marriage was in the item of shopping. My wife loves to shop. My wife loves nice things. And at the time, I would always follow my wife shopping because I was so worried about her overspending. See, that came upon and about because when we were newlyweds and young in marriage, there was one time that my wife didn't do so well with the family budget. And so I kept that hold on her when it came to shopping. I would always go with her shopping just to be like a security guard. And if you think about that just for a moment, that wasn't trusting, that wasn't honoring, that wasn't giving her the freedom to show that I trust her, honor her, and actually loved her in a way that was necessary because I was always hawking over her when it came to her shopping. Also, as she would shop, I would sometimes just sit outside and just like a lot of us guys do, we watch other women walk by. Very, very disrespectful. And especially when your wife knows that that's what you're doing. I'm not saying that we're not going to look. We are men and women are very, very beautiful and they come in so many various shapes, sizes, forms. However, it is so disrespectful to your wife that you make it as obvious can be. And besides, when you really think about it, that person will never come across your path more than likely ever again. So, what is the point in the first place? So, it's so important for us to honor our wives, not just shopping, but anywhere. We are to have our focus on our wife, our lady, our special person that God has given us. Another thing that is important for us to remember is not to compare our wives to any other woman, even to the point of our mother. I've heard, and I don't have to quote unquote deal with it, but I've heard of men, guys, husbands comparing their wife's cooking, their wife cleaning, their wife this, their wife that to their mother or any other lady or any person that they may have come in contact before. Your wife is to be held in a special honor. As I think about this honor, there are some things, however, ladies, wives, that you could also help with. the sex life. Men need the sex life to be a little bit more than always in the same place, always at the same time, nothing special about it. See, the Lord has given us to each other. So therefore, we are to honor each other and keep it special but sacred. We must not uh, keep it, we need to keep it spicy. But spicy doesn't mean that something that is inappropriate to God. That means God would not have us to have a threesome. God would not have us to beat and whoop our wives in a way that many may do for a sexual pleasure. Sex is important to husbands, and I know it's important to wives as well, but we must keep it spicy. Just do a little something different, but make sure that it is acceptable in the eyes of God. Another thing that I had some problems with was special days. You know, as I was dating my wife early on, and probably in the first 1 to 2 to 3 years, I had no problems with the special days, the Valentine's days, the birthdays, the Christmas, the Mother's Day. But as time went on, maybe 5, 10, 15 years in, I was like, special? How is Valentine's Day special when everybody is celebrating? That's not special. When I used to think of the word special, I would think of, like a Ferrari, like a Lamborghini, like a $3 million home, like a Rolex watch. So I was like, how is this special? Why do we celebrate it? Not realizing that I was too smart for my own good. If it is special for your wife, then it's indeed special. So make sure that you don't have that pitfall that I had in my marriage. You have to understand that it is special. See, what happens is it was special early, it wasn't so special. And then when you begin to have problems, you want to make it special again. Well, that will probably be too late. Let us make sure that all those days are special. And if there are any other days that we can come up with that is special to our wives. See, we need to honor our wives because God gave that woman to us. She's not an object. And that's sometimes how we end up treating our wives. We look at it as an object because we already have her. So therefore, since I already got you, I don't need to do all these special things. But we should never allow our wives to feel that they are in a mundane relationship. Mundane means bland, something that isn't special. And you know deep down in your heart, even if you have forgotten it somewhere, your wife is truly special. She's a gift. That's what it said in that reading. She's God's gift, a new life to you. Put yourself, ladies, because you have a part as well. Wives, one of the things that I did make sure I did as a husband was I made sure that any job events that I would invite my wife, wives, make sure that you put yourself in front of your husband's co-workers as much as possible, and vice versa, because it's something about seeing somebody person to person that we give them a lot more respect than if we just heard about them or know about them. So make sure, spouses, that you be a part of your wife or husband's work life, especially when there's an event. Make sure that you are seen. Let us move to understanding. If you don't ask your wife what she needs, or if you don't ask your wife, how can you honor her better? Then make sure that you do. See, the second word, understanding, is because many times we lean on our own understanding. And as I stated earlier, you could see me leaning on my own understanding, how I fell short and led a mundane marriage for quite some time. That woman, that man is special in your life, and we must do everything to not make it mundane. Yeah, the hustle, the bustle of work life, parenthood, and all the other things that you may have to do, the bills that got to be paid, the house that got to be clean, all of that is real. However, we must make sure that our marriage isn't mundane. Ask questions, sit down with each other, and begin to understand what she needs and what she wants from you. And wives, be able to share with your husband those needs and wants, because he will not understand it. I speak to friends a lot, male and female, about how guys just don't get it. Women, I'm telling you, and I say this with complete honesty, if you do not tell us, understand, we will not recognize it. You have to tell us, because we are just like the old caveman. We do stuff over and over and over again, and we have no problems with it. During football season, every single Sunday, we'll do the exact same thing over and over and over again. And guys, husbands, understand that women are the complete opposite of that. Women change their hair so very often. Women change their uh, fingernail color, their toenail color at least every 2 weeks. And I'm definitely speaking on generality, but for the most part, women like changes. Guys, we like to do the same thing over and over and over again. So we are different when it comes to that. However, we must understand that we have to get in the minds of our wives. And wives, you have to get in the mind of your husbands. And you have to help us. That's why God has called you to be our helpmate, because we need help. Understanding. The third one is equal. You are an equal partner. However, it says that you are weaker, you are less than. Now, in the big scheme of things, we know you're not less than. And when we talk about weaker, we know we're talking about, in most cases, physical. Truly, truly, you ladies are one of a kind to us as husbands. But and the reason why that third one, equal, is there is because when you are stronger than or above somebody else, it is so easy not to allow them to be your equal part. Many guys really get so big on that God has called us to be the head, not understanding that being the head is actually more work and it's harder to do than being the weaker vessel. See, we think about we are lording over you and you need to do what we said and we're the head, and so you just do as we say. No, it's difficult for us because one, our first person that we have to look to is Jesus as our example. And that in itself makes being the stronger vessel harder. And we just as human beings always have a problem with those who we look as under us or beneath us, if you will. We have a hard time treating them as equal parts. See, this isn't like the world system. We have to be about the God system. And the God system is when Jesus came, Jesus showed us that even though he was God himself in the humans, in the human spirit here on earth, he treated everyone equal, even though he is higher than each and every one of us. So, husbands, treat your wives as an equal partner. She is your gift from God. The fourth word, treat. Just treat her special. Treat her like no other woman. She is to be held in esteem like nobody else. See, when you think about your wife, and anytime there's a chance to uplift her in conversation, make sure that you do that. Always have your wife on your mind so that you can bring her up. Just say something special about her. Even to the point where you may be out at a restaurant with your guys, your boys, or even by yourself. When that waitress comes by and she brings something over, you just make a compliment and say, you know what? My wife would have liked this, or my wife would have liked that. You know what? I'm here by myself, but my wife is so special to me. Lastly, hinder. It also talked about hinder. Who would want their prayers hindered? See, you want to treat her as you should so your prayers will not be hindered. When we pray to God, and by us living in this microwave time frame, we want our prayers in an instant. So the last thing that we want is our prayers hindered. Make sure that you treat your wife with respect so your prayers don't be held up. You want your prayers to come about as soon as possible. I thank you. I hope that you were able to take some nuggets from this and that you do not make some of the mistakes that I've made over the 30 years. I must say that many things that I've done have not been all bad, but I do want to share with you some of the things to improve upon your marriage. I thank you, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.